Hello, welcome back. This is day 3. Today we're going to start getting some software installed. First off, I'm going to flip over to the Mac. I told you about that. Instead of using PuTTY, if you've got PuTTY, if you're on Windows and you want to connect from PuTTY, you got that covered. If you're on a Mac, it's actually pretty straightforward. You're going to do SSH-I. You're going to give it the name of your PEM file, and then you're going to give it your user and your IP address of your machine. Your user you should have created somewhere along the way, potentially yesterday, and boom, we're connected to our machine. You may get an error about the permissions, so what you would have to do there is you'd have to do a chmod 600 and then the name of your PEM file. In my case, it would be hockeymombookkey.pem, and then you will be able to connect. Now that we're connected, let's go with the basic install. I'm going to go ahead and copy this guy. So it's a little easier for us. What we're going to do here is we saw sudo and yum, which is the package manager for the Amazon Linux. We're going to install some software. We're going to do it without, we're just going to basically automate our way through it. And we're going to do Apache, which is this HTTPD 24. We've got PHP 5.6, which is the language we're going to use, MySQL Server 5.5, and then we've got some additional libraries. So if we go ahead and do that, it's going to ask for a password and check everything out for us to say, hey, is this good? Do I have them all? It's going to start installing them all, and boom, we're done. Bam, done. So now, once they've all installed, we can actually go ahead and start our web server. It has been installed at this point. So it has started it, and so at this point, as we saw before, if I go to my management console, struggling with the English language. If we go ahead there, now if we go to the IP address, it is going to show us something. Or not. Okay, it is not because we didn't actually open up the port. So it's a little tricky thing. So it didn't show us anything. We have it running, and actually we can see that. I'll show you how to see that. If you do ps-ef, this basically says show me everything that's running. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. You're going to see here a bunch of HTTPD stuff. And so here we can see that there's a bunch of HTTPD, which happens to be the server. So it's running in a couple different places. However, we can't connect to it because of our security. So if we go back to our console for our EC2 instance, go to our security group, then inbound. What we're going to see is the only thing that we've got here is SSH, which is how we connected. Well, now we're going to add a rule and allow HTTP traffic, which is web. We don't want that one. There we go, HTTP. And actually, we'll go ahead and add for HTTPS, which is secure, because we're going to deal with that a little bit later. So we've turned those two on, and we basically got it wide open. So anybody can come in on the web or secure web. So now, if I try to go to my site, I'm going to see that, boom, starts right up, and I have a home page. Now at this point, we are going to do a little security work here. So we're going to add, whoops, it didn't work right. It's actually not too bad. And these notes are going to be available out there, but we're going to do that sudo group add. We're going to do a www. And then, see if this will actually copy this time. And we're going to add the EC2 user to that group. And we're also going to add our user to it. So we've added our 2 users. Now, and those are so they have some access to the web files, which we're going to see in a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set let's do it this way. We're going to set the owner of everything on this www root to www. Well, actually, we're going to leave them. We'll leave them root. We'll do it that way. So we're going to have root owns everything, but everybody in the www group will be able to get to it. Now, we're going to go, let's go look at what is actually in there currently. You can see that we have a whole bunch of different things there. We are going to set the file permissions on the web folder because we're going to make a couple of changes here. So we want to go ahead, and this is basically going to go through and it's going to change a bunch of file permissions. It's really to set us up for being able to do some of the stuff we want to do, which includes creating a file. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to actually create our first file. So if you look here, there's an HTML folder, and there's basically nothing in it. That's our root folder. Well, now what we're going to do is create a file in our HTML folder. So we ran into some permission issues. The first thing we need to do is actually log out so we get those permissions. So we're going to log back in. And now, and basically what this is doing, instead of like going in and typing some stuff, we're just going to echo this command, this string, into this file. So now if we go to var www html, we will see that file there. So now if we go to phpinfo.php at that root, because it starts off in the /var/ww/html folder, that's where it's going to read anything. So if we do phpinfo.php, bam, we get to see a file. Likewise, if we want to do something goofy, we can do it. It doesn't really matter what our extension is if we know what it is. HTML is going to be a default. So if we do a hello, and then we're just going to say hello. Whoops. Sorry. I have to insert it properly. And then notice I didn't do anything for this. It doesn't need to be. It's, whoops, quit out of it. And we will see there that I've got a hello.html. If I go hello, doesn't tell me anything, but if I go to hello.html and happen to know the extension, then it's going to display that, because if nothing else, it's going to display it as text. So it doesn't really matter what I call that. I could call it hello.hello, and it's going to, so if I move that to hello.hello and then try to read it, it's going to show me it in text form. And there we go. So we have started and stopped our services. We've installed everything. This is our lamp. So we've got, because we've shown here, whoops. Let's go back to here. So here we have PHP 5632 running, and we've got, everything sort of essentially going here. So now we want to look at starting and stopping our services. We looked at starting it already. We've looked at our address. Let's go ahead and delete that file just to be safe. Whoops. And I'm going to remove the other one. That's an RM as a delete. Now I'm going to put some SSL support on. We talked about that. So HTTPS versus HTTP. Once again, I have to enter my password. And then I'm going to restart it, which we'll see here is just a sudo service http pd restart. And it's going to stop it, restart it. And now I can go here, which is by default HTTP, or I can go to an HTTPS, and it's going to warn me that I don't have an actual security in there, but it is going to go, and now I can see that it's HTTPS. I just haven't secured it correctly. At that point, I have pretty much things running. I have a SQL server. Oops. So the first time I try to run SQL Server, which I'm going to do, I do sudo service, and it's MySQL D, which is the MySQL daemon start. It's going to tell me that, hey, I haven't really secured this. So right now I can do, so MySQL is how you get to it. So if I do MySQL, actually if I do MySQL, then I'm right into it. So I can do show databases, and boom, I can see that I've got a couple databases. Well, what it wants to do, and it tells you here, whoop, it tells you that you can start it. Whoop. Let's see if I can scroll a little bit more. So first thing, please remember to set a password, and it's going to tell you how to do it. Better yet, what we're going to do is we're going to do this secure installation, because that's going to do a lot of stuff. So current password for root is none. I do want to set a password. I'm going to set a password. I'm going to retype it. I'm going to remove the anonymous users. I'm going to disallow root login remotely. I'm going to remove the test database. Basically, all of this stuff you want to say yes, 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 yes. And now, if I do MySQL, it's not going to work. So now I have to tell it what user I am, and I'm going to enter a password. The password, the user by default is root, and boom. Now, if I look, I can see, and I have a slightly different set of tables because it got rid of, up here, the test database. That sucker is gone now. So I don't have any databases. We'll get a little bit further into that as we talk about installing WordPress. And we'll get that in the next couple of days. We'll get some things going. But for now, we have a website going. We have some basic stuff going. We can put files out there. Launch our, go view our website, and even do it through secure connection, HTTPS. So have yourself a good day. We will talk to you next time, and we will just keep chugging right along.